This will be a little short one. I'll go ahead and end the day. Yeah, and in the day of vids, at least for now. With this one, zero hedge. God bless the millennials. Yes, I'm proud to be a millennial, where at least I think I'm free. Millennials really want a McMansion of their own. There's just one problem, says Zero Hedge. A new survey from apartmentlist.com of 24,000 millennials across the country, born between 1982 and 2004, revealed some great news for the residential housing market. About 80% of the millennials surveyed said they're ready to move out of mom's basement and buy a home. There's just one catch. I have a little chart here. Millennials increasingly delaying homeownership dream. Plans for homeownership versus when do you plan to buy? And I'll go ahead and read this to you. This is all between 74 and 80%. And this is, okay. No, let me go ahead and see if I can pull it. Yeah, let me just pull this up so you can follow along if you want to see this. It'd be better. I plan to eventually buy a house or apartment. 74% back in 2014. 2016 is now 80%. I plan to eventually buy a house or apartment. So 74% is now 80% in 2016, 2 years later. So more millennials are saying I definitely plan on eventually getting a house or apartment. However, those unsure, 2014 were 17%, and then 2016 were 14%, which means more are sure. And then I expect to always rent, 9% 2014, has now dropped to 5% in 2016. So again, this is clearly, times are changing. I definitely plan on getting out on my own. I definitely plan on getting a house and apartment, plain and simple. That's what that study is telling us from 2014, 2015, 2016. When do you plan to buy? Within the next year? Not a whole lot of action there, about 5 or 6%. And again, back in 2014, most people said then, within the next year, I plan on buying. In 2016, it's even less. So that's interesting. But that's also within the next year, it says. 1 to 2 years from now, 2 to 3 years, 3 to 5, 5+ years. And 5+ years takes the cake. Most of them plan on moving in 5+ years. But let's just continue on here. Apparently, those same millennials either have no idea how much a home costs in their respective cities and/or are really bad at math. As evidence, the following table from Apartment List illustrates the hilarious gap between what millennials think a home down payment in their area should be and what it actually is. So I can't wait to see this one. Not surprisingly, the largest gaps between millennial math and reality came from the most expensive cities like LA and San Francisco, where down payment expectations were off by a modest 50 to 60%. Oddly enough, millennials in Las Vegas seem to have bucked the bad math trend plaguing their generation. Maybe all the gambling is actually good for something. I'm just going to read you the lowest percentages of how bad they got it wrong versus how really bad they got it wrong. 43% expectation and actual difference. 43% higher. All the way up to 80%, 95%, and 115% reality. Oh, I was way off. Meanwhile, over 60% of the millennials surveyed admitted that they have less than $1,000 to their name and cannot afford to save even $100 per month. Adding insult to injury, Apartment List decided to use those savings numbers to calculate how long it would take the average millennial to save enough money for a down payment in various cities across the country, and found that a startling number will likely be stuck in mom's basement for nearly a quarter century longer. Years needed to save 20% down payment. As high as 23.9% to as low as just 5.5%. You know, in Kansas City, Missouri. Okay. And yeah, so maybe there was more than just one catch, but the result is the same. Millennials should get used to basement living or the basement living lifestyle. And I think we can clearly see why, huh? Unless barring some kind of massive housing bubble pop is about to take place, then all those numbers you just heard about may be cut in half, which in many of those cities still isn't great. I mean, the expectation being 43% off. They expected to put, in this one example, $64,000 down. The reality was they needed $145,000. Now, granted, this is also 20% down payments. And you know, earlier this year in 2017, the old government came out, made some little changes, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and made it even easier to come up with practically no down payment. Just when they need it, huh? And it ain't gonna matter. It won't matter. Because even with that, when you can't even add to your $1,000 you've saved up, it takes you forever to add to the $1,000. Your one washer or dryer or, you know, car breakdown from absolute financial ruin. And you're gonna buy a house and, you know, again, my brain's saying, well, if you've only saved up 1,000, you struggled to do so. If you even got to 1,000, most of these people don't even have 1,000. You're living at home. You're living cheap right now. Now you're going to go out and buy a house and make a nice big fat mortgage payment? Insurance, got PMI, right? Because we're not putting 20% down. Got to pay PMI, insurance, and this and that. And oh, my property taxes just went up. What happened? Oh, the stupid state taxes went up. It's some kind of pension thing. What the hell is this? This can't end well. And yet Lindsey Williams is saying the market melt-up is coming. Get ready for 50,000 Dow Jones. I just have a hard time swallowing that. I just do. Unless a big devaluation takes place on the US dollar, then you can see it happen instantly. That would make sense to me. Take care.